Hi guys, welcome to Pure Yoga. Great that you've had the discipline to bring yourself onto the mat for the next 45 minutes of mindful movement. We're doing subtraction today with flows, so we're going to be starting with 6 poses on one side and the other and reducing them down one pose at a time. So bringing yourself into child's pose first, we're going to widen the knees, bring the big toes together, the seat towards the feet, then start to walk the hands forward towards the front of the mat, bringing that chest nice and low to the floor, reaching out, stretching the waist, stretching into those hips, stretching into that lower back. Bringing that forehead to the floor. So the 6 poses we'll be working through today will be side plank, rotated lunge, humble warrior, high lunge with eagle arms. Aeroplane will be our balance, and then taking it to chair. And we'll be reducing a pose each time. So starting with 6 on one side, going to 6 on the other, and then 5, then 4, etc, etc. Take a breath in. Take a long sigh out through the mouth. Close the eyes, take a scan of the body from the fingertips all the way down to the toe tips. Just checking in with how your own body feels right now. How do those shoulders and hips feel? The limbs of the arms, the limbs of the legs, the joints of the knees, the elbows, the joints of the wrists, the extremities of the fingers and the toes. Full body scan from the top to the bottom. After the scan, bring the focus to the breath. Maybe using that slight restriction of the back of the throat, the Ujjayi breath, the heating breath. Breathing in and out through the nose and restricting the breath out through the mouth if you're doing Ujjayi. If you need to use the mouth, feel free to do so. On your next breath in, walk the hands over to your right side of the mat. Bring your left hand on top of the right and sink that left hip back towards that left heel. Breathe into that space of the left rib cage, expanding as you breathe in and contracting as you breathe out. Walking the hands back through center, taking those hands then over to your left side, right hand on top of the left. Sink the chest to the inside of that left thigh and just allow the body to relax here, stretching down the right side, contracting down the left. Breathing into that rib cage space on the right. Come back to central, neutral space just for a breath. Then start to bring yourself up onto your hands and knees, knees under the hips, heel of the hands under the shoulders, tops of the feet flat. Take a few rounds of cat-cow. Take it into cow where the belly drops, the head lifts, the tailbone lifts, shoulders squeeze back. Take it into cat, sending the centre of the spine to the ceiling, tailbone tucks, chin tucks. 2 spaces for a few breaths, expanding the front of the body on the inhale, expanding the back of the body on the exhale. The next time you take it into cow, hold it in that space, stretching the front side of the body, lifting up through the chin, lifting up through the tailbone. One more breath here. And then take it to the opposite direction, chin into the chest as those tailbone tucks in the centre of the spine lifts. Feeling that stretching between the shoulder blades into that lower back and the contraction of the belly as you lift that spine high. Come back to centre. Bring the hands a little further forward. Bring the hips to a hover. Then take the hips over to the left, back to the heels, over to the right, back to the heel of the hands. Take it the opposite direction, over to the right, back to the heels, over to the left, back to the heel of the hands. Then try and make figure 8, so over to the left, come back a little, over to the right, come back a little more to the heels, over to the left. Come forward slightly and then over to the right. A little further forward, over to the left. And back to the heel of the hands. Take it the other way, over to the right, back a little over to the left, back a little more, over to the right and back to the heels. Come forward a little, over to the left, further a little more, over to the right, and back to the heel of the hands. Keep the hands where they are, lift the sit bones, bring the chest down towards the floor, expanding again through those armpits, but those hips are now high. Tops of the feet are still flat on the mat, pushing into those toes. Reaching forward as much as you can with the fingertips. Maybe those foreheads have reached the floor. Maybe you can even bring that chin to the mat. Maybe that chest comes to the floor if you've got that flexion of the shoulders. One more breath here. Then scoop the body through and forward. Bring yourself onto your belly. Bring the forearms forward a little further, elbows under the shoulders. Zip the feet and the thighs together. Push those hips into the mat. Lift the chest, push into those forearms. Let those shoulder blades squeeze towards each other as you take it into Sphinx pose. Then a slight variation, widen the legs. And again, push into the hips, lift up the chest. Release that chest back down, bring the hands by the sides of the chest, bring the feet together, push into the hands, bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into those hands and feet, tuck the toes under, lift the hips, squeeze the heels or paddle those feet. One heel coming down at a time, having a nod and a shake of the head. We're going to do a mini vinyasa here, so a slightly easier option one. Come forward to a plank, drop down with the knees, untuck the toes, release the chest to the floor as those elbows come back towards the ribs. Push into the hands, lift the chest, just come to a baby cobra. And here, release the hands away from the floor and use those back muscles to lift that chest as high as you can. Bring those hands back to the chest, tuck under with the toes. Bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into those hands, push into those feet, lift up those hips and squeeze those heels back. So we'll be doing that mini vinyasa between our left and right sides, but only after we've done both left and right. Coming down onto the knees, turning your right foot off the mat. Coming onto your right side, reaching back with the left foot, reaching up with the left hand, then reaching forward with the left hand and lifting the left foot up to hip height. Hold it in side plank just for a couple of breaths. Then bringing that knee into the chest, take a hold of the ankle or the foot. Bring your left foot through, bring your right foot back onto the mat. Bring the hands to the chest. Right elbow hooks over the left knee. Turn, twist to that left side of the room. Finding rotated low lunge. Pushing into those palms. Right elbow is the anchor onto that left knee. From this space, turn the shoulders back to the front. Tuck the back toes under, bring the hands to the hips and lift that back right knee. Bring the hands to interlace at the lower back, push them down towards that right leg, heel toe the left foot out to the side slightly and bring that left shoulder to the inside of that left knee, the chest to the inside of that left thigh. And then maybe lift the hands away from the lower back if the shoulders are happy to do so. Breathing into this humble warrior space. Relaxing the head, letting go of any tension around that neck. Then lift those shoulders back up. Release the hands. Bring the arms out in front of you. We've got high lunge, finding eagle arms, left elbow under the right, bend the elbows, bring the hands to the shoulders. Lift the elbows up in front of the gaze. If you want to find full eagle arms, you can bring the hands either back of the palms or find a double wrap to find that eagle arm space. Then release the hands down by the sides of the body. Step forward onto your left foot, stepping a couple of steps through with the right. Then lifting the right leg up to hip height, straightening through the left leg, the right leg, engaging through the right bum cheek to lift that right leg as high as you can. One more breath in our standing aeroplane balance. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, expand the chest. Bring your right foot to meet the left, drop the hips low. Reach the arms up, biceps by the ears, or bring the hands to the chest. Whatever works for you best in this chair pose. Find a feather-like touch through the toes, lower the hips maybe a little more. Lift the lower belly up and tuck the tailbone under. Then release the hands down to the floor. Step back with your right foot. Step back with your left foot. Lift the hips and squeeze the heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of the head. Coming back down onto the knees. This time turn your left foot off the mat. Come onto that left side body, reaching up with the right hand. Then forward with the right hand to the front of the room, raising up the right leg to hip height. Finding side plank here for a couple of breaths, squeezing the outside of that right hip to lift that long limb of that right leg. Bring that knee into the chest, take a hold of the ankle or the side of the foot. Bring the left foot back onto the mat. Bring the hands to the chest. Left elbow hooks over the right knee. Turn and twist through the waist. Left elbow's the anchor, hands are the strength. Find that rotated low lunge. Back toes are still untucked, tops of the foot flat. Right sole of the foot pushing into the floor for stability. Then turn the shoulders back to the front, bring the hands to the hips. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Keep that belly drawn back. Bring the hands to interlace at the lower back, push them down that left leg, heel toe the right foot out to the side. And then bring that right shoulder to that right knee, chest to the inside of the thigh. Maybe raising up with those right hands, with those hands to the ceiling, or keeping them in the lower back if you wish. Humble warrior, strength through the thighs to hold the pose. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, keep the right knee bent, left leg straight. Bring the arms forward, this time right elbow hooks under the left, bend the elbows, bring the hands to the shoulders, backs of the hands or palms, and then raise those elbows up in front of the gaze, holding it in high lunge eagle arms, just for a couple of breaths. Then finding our standing balance, release the hands down by the side of the body, step forward a couple of paces with the left leg, and then bring the balance onto the right leg, lifting the left leg up to hip height. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Find that grounding through that standing leg. Both hips square to that mat. Left toes back to the shins, left heel pushing away. Holding it in aeroplane just for another breath. Then release that left foot to meet the right, drop the hips low. Either raise the arms up to ear height, or bring the hands to the chest, sink the hips, feather-like touch through the toes, weight in the heels. Tuck that tailbone down, take the arch out of the lower back. And then fold over those legs, let the head hang. Step back with your left foot, step back with your right foot. Lift the hips back to down dog. Have a little nod, shake of the head. And then take that mini vinyasa flow, come forward to plank. Drop down with the knees, untuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows. Slowly lower the body to the floor. Push into the hands for a moment to lift the chest, then take the hands away. Use the back muscles, strength to lift that chest. Release the hands back down. Tuck under with the toes, bring those chests back towards those thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips, squeeze those heels back. Take a breath in, down dog. Then come back onto the knees. We take one pose off of chair at the end. Turn your right foot off the mat. Take your left toes to the back. Reach up with your left hand to the ceiling, then forward to the front of the room. Lift up with your left leg, toes back to the shins, left heel pushing away. Then bend into that left knee, bring your left hand to grab a hold of that left foot. Bring your left foot forward, right foot back on the mat. Bring the hands to the chest. Right elbow over the left knee. Turn, twist, rotate. Keep the hips square. Feel those shoulders facing the left side of the room and the twist coming through that waist. Then bring the shoulders back to the front. Tuck the back toes under. Lift up the back knee. Back leg straightens. Left knee stays bent. Bring the hands to the lower part of the back. Push the hands down, that right leg interlacing the fingers. Heel toe the left foot out to the side. Bring that left shoulder to the left knee. Reaching those hands away from the lower back if those shoulders are happy. And relaxing the neck, humble warrior. Then lift those shoulders back over those hips. Bring both arms out in front of you. Keep that left knee bent. Left elbow hooks under the right. Find the shoulders, back of the hands or the palms. Then lift the elbows. Eagle warrior in high lunge. Then finding our standing balance, bring the hands down by the side of the body. Step your foot forward a couple of times. Then lift that right leg, balancing on the left. Gazing down to the floor, squeeze the shoulder blades down and together. Expand that chest. So this is the last pose on this side for this round. Take a bend into that left knee, step your right foot back. Both hands to either side of the left foot. Left leg lifts. Bring it back to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet. And then we take it back to the knees. Turn your left foot off the mat. Bring your weight onto your left side. Reach up with your right hand. Forward to the front of the mat with the hand. Then lift that right leg up to hip height. Squeezing the outside of that right hip. Bring a bend into that right knee. Take a hold of the ankle or the foot. Bring your right foot forward. Left foot back onto the mat. Hands to the chest. Left elbow hooks over the right knee. Turn and twist and rotate to that right side room. Low lunge rotation. Then turn the shoulders back to the front. Bring the hands to the hips. Tuck the back toes under. Lift up the back knee. Right knee stays bent. Bring the hands to the lower spine. Interlace the fingers. Push those hands down that left leg. Heel toe the foot of the right out to the side. Bring your right shoulder to that right knee. Chest to inside of the right thigh. Hands to raise up to the ceiling or stay in that lower back to find humble warrior. Then lift those shoulders back over the hips, lower the hands. Bring the arms out in front of you. Right elbow hooks under the left to find shoulders, back of hands or palms for double wrap. And then lift those elbows up, shoulder high. Finding that high lunge with eagle arms. Release the hands down. Step forward onto your right leg. Lift up your left leg. Line the torso with the hip, the left leg with the hip. Or somewhere close. Taking a couple of easy breaths in this standing balance, the last standing balance in this flow as we drop this one off at the end. Take a bend into your right knee, bring your left foot back, bring both hands either side of your right foot, right leg lifts, and bring it back to meet the left. So we'll take that mini vinyasa flow from here. Forward to plank, drop the knees, untuck the toes, turn the creases of the elbows, release to the floor. Push into the hands for a moment to lift the chest, then bring the hands away from the mat. Release the hands back down, tuck under with the toes. Chest comes back to the thighs. Push into the hands and feet, lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Then maybe bring yourself to your knees, either finding child's pose or a moment to take on some water if you wish. So we're dropping now 2 poses, so we're down to 4. So we have side plank, rotated low lunge, humble warrior, and then we have high lunge with eagle arms. Doing it on the right side, doing it on the left side, then taking a vinyasa, mini vinyasa in between. If you're not there already, just find your child's pose for a couple of breaths. Relax the shoulders. Maybe just give those foreheads a little massage onto the mat by moving that forehead in circles in one direction, and then take it the other way. And then when you're ready, coming up onto the hands and knees. Knees under the hips, turn your right foot off the mat, bring your weight into your right side, reach that left hand up to the ceiling, then forward to the front of the room. Reach the left foot up to hip height, hold it for a breath, then bring that knee into the chest, take a hold of that foot, bring it forward, right foot comes back onto the mat. Hands come to the chest, right elbow over that left knee, tuck the back toes and, we keep the back toes untucked and we turn, rotate and twist to that left side of the room. Holding it in this low lunge rotation. And then turn the shoulders, bring the hands to the hips. Now tuck under the back toes and lift the back knee, keeping the left knee bent. Tuck that tailbone down, lift the lower belly up, interlace the fingers, push the hands down that right leg, heel toe the left toes out to the side. Bring that left shoulder to that left knee, reaching the hands up to the ceiling if you wish. And letting the head go in this humble warrior. Relaxing through the neck. And then release those hands back to the lower back. Lift the shoulders over the hips. Bring the arms out in front of you. Then hook the left elbow under the right. Bend the elbows, hands to shoulders, back of the palms, back of the hands or the palms for double wrap. Keep those hips low, back leg straight. So we're going to hold it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the hands down. Lift that left leg up to the ceiling. Bring it back to meet the right. Come down onto the knees. Turn your left foot off the mat. Turn onto your left side. Reach your right hand up to the ceiling. And then forward to the front of the room, lifting up the right leg to hip height, pushing the right heel away. Right toes back to the shins, a long line from the fingertips to the heel. Bring the knee into the chest, take a hold of the right foot, bring it forward, left foot comes back onto the mat. Bring the hands to the chest, left elbow, right knee, turn, twist, rotate to the right side, keeping those back knees down in this low lunge rotation. Breath in, length, breath out, twist. Bring those shoulders back to the front, hands to the hips, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Tuck the tailbone down, lift the lower belly up, bring the hands to the lower back, interlace the fingers, push them down towards that left leg, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Heel toe the right foot out to the side, then bring that right shoulder to that right knee, chest to the inside of the right thigh. Maybe lift those hands up and over the head. And let that head relax to the inside of that right shin. Bring the hands back to the lower back. Lift the shoulders over the hips. Bring the arms out, shoulder height. Hook the right elbow under the left. Find the shoulders, back of the hands, palms. Lift the elbows, sink the hips, bend that right knee a little more, left leg straighten a little further for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the hands down. Lift that right leg up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the left. Take a little paddle of the feet, holding it in down dog for a breath. Then bring yourself forward to plank. Drop down with the knees and tuck the toes. Slowly let the body release to the floor. Push into the hands, lift up the chest, bring the hands away, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Bring the hands back to the mat, tuck under the toes. Bring the chest back to the thighs. Push into the hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. So dropping off into the pose at the end, so we're losing the high lunge eagle arms. So dropping down onto your knees, turning your right foot off the mat, bringing your weight onto the right side, reaching up with the left hand, forward with the left hand, then lift that left heel to hip height, finding side plank. Then bring that knee into the chest, take a hold of the ankle, bring the left foot forward, right foot back onto the mat. Hands come to the chest, right elbow hooks over that left knee. Turn, twist, rotate. Finding that rotation from the waist and the shoulders just coming for the trip. Bring the shoulders back in front, hands to the hips, tuck the back toes under and lift up with that back knee. Find that core engagement, lift the lower belly up, tuck the tailbone down. Hands come down to interlace in the lower back. Push them down, that right leg, heel toe the left foot out to the side. And then fold from the hips, bring that shoulder to that left knee. Hands up above the head or to the lower back. Relax the neck. Holding it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hands back to the lower back, hands to either side of the left foot. Lift that left leg up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the right. Take a little paddle, nod and shake of the head. Bring those heels to stillness. Bring the knees to the floor. Turn your left foot off the mat. Roll over onto your left side, straightening the right leg and lifting the right arm. Reaching forward with the right hand, lifting the right heel to hip height. Holding it in this space. Then bring that knee into the chest. Take a hold of that right ankle, bring it forward, left foot comes back onto the mat. Bring the hands to the chest. Left elbow hooks over the right knee, turn and twist to the right side. Easy breaths here. Bring the shoulders facing back forward, bring the hands to the hips, tuck the back toe under, lift the back knee, engage through the core, lift the lower belly up, tuck the tailbone down. Bring the hands to the lower back, interlace the fingers, push them down that left leg, heel toe that right foot out to the side. Bring your right shoulder to the inside, on top of that right knee, and the chest to the inside of the right thigh. And raise those hands up above the head if you're happy, or lower back if not, for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hands back, either side of that right foot. Lift that right leg up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the left. Mini Vinyasa option 1, come forward to a plank. Drop down with the knees and tuck the toes. Release that chest all the way to the floor. Then push into the hands, lift the chest, bring the hands away. Just use those back muscles as strength to lift those hips. Then release those hands back, tuck the toes, bring the chest back, towards those thighs. Push into the hands and feet, lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. So dropping off humble warrior. So our last pose on the right side will be our twisted rotated low lunge. Come down onto the knees. Turn your right toes off the mat, left toes to the back, reach up with the left hand. Then the left hand forward to the front of the room and lift that left leg up to hip height. Then bring that knee into the chest, take a hold of the left foot, bring it forward, bring your right foot back onto the mat. Bring the hands to the chest. Right elbow hooks over that left knee to find that rotation. Holding in this rotation, choice to stay with the right knee dropped, or maybe tuck the right toes under and lift that right knee up. Holding it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring both hands down either side of the left foot. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the right. Come down onto the knees. Your left foot comes off the mat. Your right foot goes back. Your right hand lifts. Then forward to the front of the room as you raise the right leg up to hip height. Holding it here in plank for another breath. Then bring that knee into the chest, take a hold of the ankle, bring the right foot forward, left foot back on the mat. Bring the shoulders over the hips, palms together, left elbow, right knee. Push into those hands, rotate the waist. Choice to stay here if you wish, or tuck those back toes under, lifting that back knee to find a slightly more challenging balance of rotation lunge for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the hands either side of your right foot. Lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Bring it back to meet the left. That mini vinyasa flow, forward to plank. Drop the knees, untuck the toes, elbows graze the ribs as you come to the floor. Lift the chest, bring the hands away from the mat. Release the chest back down, tuck under the toes. Chest comes back towards the thighs. Push into the hands and feet, lift up those hips. Squeeze those heels back, have a nod, have a shake of the head, paddle through the feet. We have one pose left on both sides, which is your side plank pose. Come down onto the knees. Turn your right foot off the mat. Send your left leg back. Lift up with the left hand, then forward with the left hand, and lift that left leg up to hip height. Holding it here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your left hand down, left knee down. Take it on the other side. Left foot comes off, right heel comes back. Reach up with the right hand, weight onto the left side. Reach forward with the right hand, lift up with the right leg. Holding it in this space for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right hand down, right knee down. Step back into a plank. Lift the hips, down dog. Hold it in down dog for a few breaths. Then come forward to a plank. Drop down with the knees, untuck the toes. Slowly let that body release down to the floor. Push into the hands, lift up the chest, bring the hands away. Then bring the arms to cactus arms. Holding it in this back bend, pushing the hips into the mat for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hands by the side of the body. Tuck the toes under. Bring the seats back to the feet. Push into those hands, push into the feet, lift up the hips. Squeeze those heels back. Take a little paddle, a nod, a shake of the head. Then bringing the knees down to the mat. Swing the legs around. Bring the seat into the centre, heels to the front. Bring the toes back to the shins. Remove flesh from underneath that sit bones. So you've finished those subtraction of poses from 6 to 1. Well done, guys. Real strong practice. Reach up with the arms. Lengthen up through the torso. And then pivoting from the hips, bring the hands down to wherever they reach. It may be the knees, shins, ankles, outside of the feet. Use your breath. The in-breath elongates and the out-breath, the abdominals draw back as you fold over those legs. Just letting go of any tension you're holding around the shoulders. Just feel that abdominal contraction to draw those chests a little closer to the thighs. Maybe some contraction through the upper thighs to push those knees into the mat. And some contraction through those shins to draw those toes back towards them. Pushing the heels away to lengthen that posterior chain of muscles. Easy breaths in and long breaths out. Taking a hold of either your right shin, ankle or foot and bring a bend into that left knee. Into your left foot. Bring a bend into your left knee. Then either take your fingers to interlace under that foot, bring your weight onto that space between the sit bones and the lower spine, and then send that left leg as long as you can, pointing that left heel up to the ceiling, and those toes back to the shins, relaxing through the shoulders. Remember, maybe your hands are on those calves, or maybe even a little higher up the legs behind that knee. Just trying to straighten that leg as much as you can without rolling through that lower back. And then take a bend back into that left knee. Bring that left foot over the right leg. Your right elbow hook around that left knee and your left hand comes behind, and take a rotation through that waist. Keep active through those right toes. Keep lifted through the spine, lifted through the crown of the head, rotated through the waist. Feeling those oblique muscles, doing some abdominal contraction as we turn and twist. One more breath here. And then turn the shoulders back to the front and release that left leg forward to meet the right. Take a little paddle of those legs. Okay, so same again with the right side, but first of all doing a forward fold, bring the hands up and then start to fold over both legs. Reach the hands forward as far as they can come, but try not to pull with the shoulders. Keep the shoulders relaxed down to the hips, the toes back to the shins, the upper thighs engaged, the abdominals helping you bring more range of movement through this fold. And then just relax through the head, but try not to curl through the upper spine. Keep everything nice and aligned, pushing that chest forward and those abdominal contractions over those thighs. Then take a hold of the right leg, foot or ankle. Take a bend into that right knee. Take either an interlace of the fingers under the foot or hold on to the ankle or the calf. Bring the weight onto that space between the sit bones, lower spine, and then lift that right heel to point up, toes of the right foot back to the shins. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the back. Try and use those back muscles to keep that torso tall. And then bringing a bend into that right knee, bringing your right foot over your left leg. Bring your left hand around and that elbow to hook that right knee. Bring your right hand behind the body and turn and twist, rotate towards that right side of the room. Encouraging the right shoulder back and the left shoulder around, using the breath for the movement. Maybe gazing to the back of the room to get a little rotation through that cervical upper part of the spine around the neck area. Then turn those shoulders back to the front, straight through the right leg. Give a little shake through those knees. Take a bend into both knees. Let the knees drop out to butterfly legs. Take a hold of the soles of the feet with the thumbs and turn the soles of the feet up and let the knees drop out. So we're in butterfly legs here. Grow tall through the spine, maybe fold from the hips a little and bring those elbows to the inside of the knees to help encourage those knees a little lower. They don't have to be as low as mine. Just find your range of movement. Maybe your knees are up here. That's fine. Maybe you want to bring your feet a little further forward to take the pressure out and just turn those feet up with those feet slightly further away, and then maybe bend over and fold towards those feet. So the further the feet away, the easier it is to fold. There's more space in the hips. Then bring those shoulders again back over the hips. Straighten both legs out to the front of the mat. Bring the toes back to the shins, arms to shoulder height. Slowly and mindfully let those bodies come all the way to the floor. Use the long limbs, the core strength, the control and stability as you bring those shoulders to the mat. Bring the arms out to a T shape. Bring the knees in, feet into the bum. And then just let the knees be hip width apart and just windscreen wipe the legs in one direction, back through centre, over to the other side. Back into centre, again to the left, and again to the right. Just neutralise that back. Before we find a space for relaxation, just bring the knees into the chest for a moment. Maybe squeeze the knees in as close as you can, but try and keep that tailbone grounded to the floor as much as possible and the shoulders plugging into the mat. Bring the knees out and around the ribs with the thighs and squeeze those knees in towards those armpits. And then let the feet come to wherever you wish them to be for relaxation. It may be that the feet are together and the knees are out. It may be that the knees are together and the feet are mat width apart, dropping the knees inwardly, internal rotation. Or maybe you want to take those legs long to the width of the mat and length of the mat, letting those feet drop out. Maybe having a rock of the hips, bringing the hands wherever those legs are down by the sides of the body, letting the fingers gently curl, palms facing up, to open the chest and relax those shoulders out. Take a turn of the head in one direction, back through centre and over to the other side. Back to centre. Take a nice long deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Another deep breath in and out. Close the eyes, relax the jaw, the forehead, the shoulders and the hips, the elbows and the knees, ankles and wrists. Relaxing through the extremities of the toes and the fingers. And just take that scan of the body from the top of the head down to the fingertips, down to the toe tips. How does that body feel? So your choice can be to stay here for relaxation for a little longer, in which case pause me now, or start to wriggle those fingers and toes, move those wrists, those ankles. Maybe take a full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, stretching through the fingers, the toes, maybe arching that lower back, then bringing the hands back up and over. Bring the knees into the chest, maybe have a rock of that body from side to side. And then rolling over onto your left or right side, just take a breath on the side of the body. Deep breath in. Long breath out. Then making your way into seated. Bringing yourself either to cross-legged, legs out in front, or on the knees, keeping the eyes gently closed. Place the hands on the thighs. Take a deep breath in, bring the hands up and over the head. Long breath out, bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, words, hearts. From my heart to yours. Namaste.